Hi, this is Tom Oding at the University of Iowa. Here we're going to show a case of a first phaco chop done by one of our third-year residents, Erin Shriver. She'd already done about 30 cases of divide and conquer and about 5 cases of stop and chop. Here you can see we encountered a very mature white cataract. We've already done a trypan blue assisted capsulorhexis. And now the best choice for this kind of lens is phaco chop. You can see she's getting set up with her phaco needle, and her approach is a little shallow here. She eventually gets a more steep approach. But there's a tendency at first when starting phaco chop to make the approach too shallow. And that's because the approach you're used to making with making a groove is far more shallow than the approach you make with phaco chop. Here you can see she's also not quite got the alignment perfect for the first chop, but still she's having good success. Here you can see the chop is a nice in half chop. Part of the problem she's having is the paracentesis incision is not 60 degrees, but more like 90 degrees away from the main incision. So now she's made the initial crack, and I'm encouraging her here. You can see I'm making motions with the balanced salt device here to bring that chopper just to the left of the phaco needle and try to line it up better. Again, part of the problem with the alignment here is that the paracentesis is more like 90 degrees away rather than 60. Now she's got a decent grip. She's going around and almost gets it, very close. She's going to pulse in a few more times here, and you get a good grip on this section of nucleus. You can see that there's nothing below this nucleus, and that's what makes divide and conquer so difficult in a nucleus like this, because once you see the red reflex, it's too late. So now she's got this little section that she's bringing up that's been chopped, and you can see how easily this comes in these mature lenses that we tend to see in patients with diabetes. Here she's going to rotate it around, and she's angling down a little better now, angling more posterior with the phaco needle to get a good purchase. And she's using a pulse mode with high vacuum. Here the vacuum was about 140 millimeters of mercury on a Millennium machine. That was a little superficial. That chop was a little superficial. She needs to re-grab and try again. This time bring that chopper around a little bit more. Once again, it was a bad grab. She's going to grab again with the phaco needle. And there's a nice chop. Now she's switching over from the chopper, which is relatively sharp and therefore somewhat dangerous to the posterior capsule, to a Drysdale, which is a polishing instrument, which is of no danger if it touches the capsule. She's bringing up this last little piece, which is about the size of a quarter. And now she's got a small half of the nucleus left, and she's just going to bring this half up in one piece, which seems reasonable. She probably would have opted to chop this as well into smaller pieces if this wasn't her first case really of phaco chop. You can just see how little there is below her now. She's just going to be a little bit higher than usual because there's no epinucleus to protect her. She's just letting the machine do all the work as the vacuum from this machine brings the piece towards her. One of the great advantages of this Venturi pump with the Millennium is the pieces come so nicely to the tip. You can see now that the pieces are coming up nicely. There's really very little left. There's one small piece that's in the area of the paracentesis. She's having a little bit of trouble getting that to come. The pieces will go to the area of least resistance. And so right now, the paracentesis offers the least resistance. So if you squirt fluid through the paracentesis as shown here, you can make the piece go right into the tip as it just did. And so this is a good example of a first Phaco chop in one of our residents at Iowa.